Thank you. I am your dose of estrogen for the afternoon. So, in 2008, I was invited to be on a panel in front of the Public Relations Society of America, Philadelphia chapter, with a bunch of editors. And one of the questions that was asked was, how's your company doing with these economic times? And they started down at the other end, and everyone was giving their answer saying, we're having such difficulties, we're struggling. And I thought, oh no. I'm talking to PR people, and my answer will be, we're fine. Our sales have continued to be up every month. And they're not going to believe me because they're in PR, and they're going to think I'm putting a spin on my business. And I almost was embarrassed that I was about to say that my company's doing well, but I was saved because as this editor gave her answer, the moderator said, okay, let's move to the next question. I was like, okay, good. But I was embarrassed that we were doing so well at a time when many people weren't. What happened then, that was around 2008. 2009, our sales dropped about 10%. And while many people will say, well, yes, that's because things were bad, I have a different theory. I don't believe that that is why. In 2010, we brought sales back up higher than 2008. What I feel happened in 2009, at that time we were in an office on Main Street. All of our salespeople worked at home. And in the office was myself and our art director. And we hired a sales manager. Up until that point, it was just myself and Joe kind of checking in with the salespeople every now and then. The sales manager started talking to the sales reps every day. And then I was talking to the sales manager. And I was hearing things that didn't seem right. Like, shouldn't you be talking to more people? Does anybody have any meetings today? It didn't seem like enough was being done. So then I put out, we're going to start call reports, daily call reports. So I got the daily call reports, and oh yeah, that's where my problem was. Things weren't being done as they should. So we made a move then around the corner on the Church Road into a larger office. That was 2 floors, and I did this crazy thing. I had all the salespeople come to work every day. And that didn't go over too well because we had 6 salespeople, and they had been working out of their homes for years. And there were 6 then. At this time, there's only 2 left of those 6 people. That was a very hard thing to do. I also changed the role of that sales manager that we had then, and I brought in a VP of sales, Todd Moreland. And what he did when he came in was he started sales training. He would have weekly meetings where we never had this before. And this is also basic, but it was something that we weren't doing at the time. What had been happening in the past was we had some serious discounting that was going on. Sometimes it was okay by me, sometimes it wasn't. That was stopped. He got us national accounts. He's the first one that was sold to was Sleepy's. They advertised with us 12 times and just re-signed to do another 12. He got us a billboard. He has us on the radio. He was this angel sent from God to SJ Magazine to get the sales team up and running and doing things differently. And then sales started going up. So I don't know how much of that dip was a recession or sales execution. While we were figuring out all of this sales issue, we were also improving the quality of the magazine. When Joe and I purchased the magazine, how that worked was, a lot of people don't realize that I was hired as the editor of the magazine before we made the purchase. And when I came on, it was very quick to realize that things weren't going too well. They had made, the owners lived in Conshohocken. I don't know that they had ever been to this area. So they had, no, serious. And that was important to have a presence in this area with this type of business. They had cut the website, they had shut it down, they had cut circulation. So I would be saying these things to Joe. I don't know how well it's going. And he would say, we should buy that. And at first I just kind of ignored him. And then I thought, well, yeah, that would be great. I would love to have this as a business. So what we did was we went to the owners, and we didn't offer a dollar amount because we never would have been able to agree on what the value of the magazine was at that point. because at that point we wouldn't have seen it as having much value. We saw the value as being the potential, and we didn't see a dollar amount that you could put on that potential. So what we did was we offered for 5 years, we would pay a percentage of sales. That was one big mistake in that negotiation that we made, was that year 3, 4, 5, the percentage didn't change. And in year 3, 4, 5, that potential was no longer helping us with sales. We were getting sales. But the owners were still getting a really good number, even though we had brought the sales number up. So giving that check every month was really difficult to do. And on that last year, that last check, it was fantastic to be able to send it off and say, we are on our own now. And other things that we did were we started meeting when we first purchased the magazine. When we first purchased the magazine, we increased circulation. You had to do that. Circulation is directly linked to your ad rates. We put up the website. Again, that's obvious. And then Joe and I started meeting with people, lots of people. We met with Liz Thomas and Pam Boyd from Thomas Boyd. They were one of the first people we met. We had lunch with them. Liz Thomas came about a half hour late. I think she was really annoyed that she was meeting with us. And her attitude was, who are you? Why am I here? I don't get it, I don't get it. Why are you doing this? So we kept explaining to her, this is our vision, this is what we're thinking. And by the end of the lunch, she got it. She said, okay, I understand and we'll support you if we can. In the time since that meeting, we've had John Bon Jovi on the cover 2 times, and it's because of Liz. She got me to him, and I got that interview. We also I met with Marie Alonso, who was a PR person at the time. Same thing. She's looking at me like, why are you doing this? I'm not quite sure I'm understanding. And I explained to her, this is what we're doing, this is the path that we're on, we're working hard, staying focused. And she said, at one point she said, okay, I'll help you. And within a few months, I was on the Fox Philly morning show. I ended up going on there several times talking about things that we had going on in the magazine. She also one afternoon called me and said, and this will kind of give you an idea of the year that I'm talking about, and said, Bob Lipinski just won T.O.'s Super Bowl ring. So T.O. had put his Super Bowl ring up for auction, and he was going to donate the money to charity. She said, you can go when he presents it. He's going to present it tonight. Here's a number, call this number, you can go. So I call the number, and I say, and it's Bob Lipinski, and I say, oh, I hear this, Marie Alonso told me, can I come? He says, okay, call this number. I call that number, I tell the guy, and he says, I don't know what you're talking about. That's not happening. And I keep pushing, and he says, okay, go to this address at 7 o'clock. So I go. This is what I'll do for a story. It was a strip mall, and it's a cigar shop. I go in the cigar shop, go to the back, knock on the door, they look, I go in, and there's a long hallway, and it opens into this beautiful bar, in dark wood, and 100 men drinking and smoking cigars, and me. And that's okay. So I positioned myself right in that hallway, because I knew T.O. was coming in there, and when he came in, I got the interview, and we got the story, because I had that initial meeting. So through the years, the story of SJ Magazine is that we have worked hard, reviewed what we're doing, met a lot of people, some of them are here, who have helped us along the way. And those are the things that have kept us in business. We try not to pay a lot of attention to the national forecast, because as you know, we're so local that we just look at our local happenings, and that's what keeps us going, that's what has kept us going.